everyone. Today we'll be discussing Chapter 7, Birds, their feathers, beaks and claws. In this chapter, we'll be discussing the different types of bird adaptations, that is feathers, beaks and claws, and also the uses of these adaptations. Now before we begin, let's warm up. Danny has been watching a sparrow in his balcony for a long time. In the winter, the sparrow looked plump, but now as the summer is coming, the same sparrow looked thin. Danny was very worried, but his grandma told him not to worry and that the sparrow is fine. Do you know why birds look plump in the winter and thin in the summer? Birds are an amazing creation of nature. They are the animals that can fly. Their body structure has been designed to make them airborne. What are birds? Birds are animals with feathers. They lay eggs and they are warm-blooded. They stand upright on 2 feet which have claws. Birds have a beak, but birds do not have teeth. A special feature of a bird is that it has feathers. No other animal groups have feathers on its body. Feathers. Feathers have many uses for birds, and the presence of feathers makes the bird different from all other animals. Feathers also protect the body of a bird. In cold weather, the bird fluffs up its feathers to entrap more air. This layer of air helps the body insulate itself from cold air. In hot weather, they compress their feathers to eliminate the heat-trapping pockets of air. Here's a science top-up for you. There are about 10,000 different kinds of birds. They can be found everywhere, like cities, jungles, deserts, or seas. The only place they are not found is the deep ocean. Birds have adapted themselves to almost all types of ecosystems. Feathers of a bird also serve as their raincoats. Many birds secrete oil to their feathers from a gland near its tail. The bird squeezes out the gland with its bill and applies this oil on the feathers for waterproofing. This oil prevents the growth of fungi and bacteria. Birds use their feathers to fly, but not all birds fly in the same way. Some birds fly for long distances. Some fly very fast but for short distances. Birds have adapted their wings to different ways of taking off and flying. Fast takeoff wings. Some birds like turkeys, pheasants, etc. must take off quickly to get away from predators. These birds have relatively short, fat wings. This wing shape allows fast takeoff and short flight. These birds are good at flying around trees and other obstacles. Soaring wings. We see red-tailed hawks, eagles, vultures, etc. are soaring above the earth. Their wings are long but are relatively broad or fat. This wing shape is great for soaring high up in the sky. Vultures can fly high in the air for hours without flapping their wings. High speed and maneuverability wings. These wings are long, narrow and angled. So birds with this wing type can fly very quickly. Fast movements which allow the bird to turn very quickly. We can see such wings in swifts, swallows and other shorebirds. We can even see the barn swallow catching insects in the air. Slow flapping wings. The heron and egret have wings which are long and slender. This wing shape is good for long flights. Long, slow wing flaps characterize the flight of these birds that fly long distances. Long distance flyer wings. Many long distance migrating birds stay in the air for 2 days. Their wings make this possible. Their wings are long, narrow and pointed. They make flying easy and reduce the amount of energy the bird needs to fly long distances. Seagulls have these kind of wings. Flightless birds. Some birds cannot fly. Ostrich, penguin and kiwi cannot fly. The ostrich is a very fast runner and it can actually beat a horse. Penguins are good swimmers. They sometimes wobble when they walk, but they are very good at diving and swimming. Did you know? The puffin can fly, but they do not fly. Like a penguin, the puffin uses its wings to move through the water, catching fish and other small sea creatures by diving. It comes to the land to lay eggs. When the eggs hatch, the puffin goes back into the sea. Beaks. Birds use their beaks for just about everything. They use their beaks for making nests, for feeding their young, for grooming their feathers, for defending themselves, and for eating. The beaks are different according to what the bird eats and does. Birds do not have teeth. The biting, tearing, and chewing of their food are done by their beaks. Hooked beaks. Some birds, like eagles, hawks, falcons, vultures, owls, and buzzards, have hooked beaks. The upper part of the beak curves down over the lower part and comes to a sharp point. These beaks help the birds for catching, biting, and tearing the flesh of their prey. Conical beaks. Birds that eat nuts and seeds have short and conical beaks. They help the bird to crack open the hard shell, eat the soft inner food. Sparrows, finches, cardinals, grosbeaks, and juncos have this type of cracker-style beak. Tweezer beaks. Some birds eat insects. They have thin, tweezer-like beaks to pick up and hold on to the small insects. Warblers, wrens, and orioles are birds with this type of beak. Here's a tidbit for you. Crows eat just about anything: nuts and seeds, fruit, fish, and insects. They even scavenge for food if necessary. So, their beak is described as the Swiss Army knife of beaks. Strainer beak. Ducks and other water birds who eat water plants and aquatic invertebrates. So, they have strainer beaks. These beaks filter food out from the mouthfuls of water, sand, and other water debris. Sipping beaks. Sipping beaks are long and slender. They act like a straw to suck nectar from flowers. Hummingbirds, sunbirds, etc. have sipping beaks. Spear beak. Herons, terns, kingfishers, egrets, and other fish-eating birds have spear-like beaks. They help the bird to stab or strike fish. Some dive at the fish while some others stand in the water waiting for prey to come near them. Probing beaks. Some beaks look similar but serve different purposes. Spear beaks and probing beaks look similar but they are different. Probing beaks of ibis, curlew, snipe, and godwit are slenderer. These birds use their beaks to probe for worms, insects, etc. in muddy and shallow water. Special beaks. Pelicans have pouched beaks that hold fish and up to 11 liters of water. Pelicans have pouches in their beaks which expand when they need. As the pelican floats on water, it scoops up the water using their beaks as a pouch. The fishes passing by get picked up. The pouch contracts, draining out the water, and the fish remain in the pouch. The bird eats those fish. Woodpeckers have strong, sturdy, and chisel-shaped beaks. Those beaks can make holes into tree trunks to search for insects living under the bark. Woodpeckers have a long and barbed tongue. After the woodpecker makes a hole in the tree trunk, it uses its tongue to capture and bring out the insects. Feet of the birds. Just like the beaks, birds have different types of feet. They help the bird move around in its natural surroundings and find food. Birds generally have 4 toes on each foot. The feet have a scaled skin that strengthens the feet. Wading feet. The long legs of the crane and stork help them to wade into ponds and streams to catch and eat small water animals. The feet have long toes to help the bird to walk at the bottom of water bodies when searching for food. Swimming feet. Ducks and geese have the web between their toes. The web helps them to paddle through the water. The webbed feet also help the birds to walk on muddy land. Climbing feet. Woodpeckers have sharp and curved claws. The claws help them to climb and to clutch the bark of trees. Their feet are different because there are 2 toes forward and 2 toes pointing backwards. This helps the birds to get a firm grip on the tree bark. Grasping feet. Hawks and owls are hunting birds. Their toes have sharp and powerful claws called talons. These birds use them for catching food. They use their strong claws to crush their victims and to carry them to their nest. Predatory birds have 3 talons pointing forward and 1 talon pointing backwards. Owls can rotate one of their forward pointing toes to the back. This increases their ability to grasp tree branches and to hold on to their prey firmly. Perching feet. All songbirds or perching birds have 3 toes pointing forward and 1 toe pointing backward. This helps the bird to grasp its perch. Such birds clamp their toes around a branch and remain on it safely. Let us think. Most animals have teeth. Teeth help the animals to bite, tear and chew their food. But birds do not have teeth. How do you think the birds are able to eat? Birds have very strong beaks. They use their beaks to cut, tear or break down their food into small pieces. Eagles hold their prey by their talons and use their hooked beak to tear through the flesh. Similarly, the songbird uses its claws to hold the seed and uses its beak to crack open the hard covering of the seed. Birds have a very strong digestive system. They do not need to chew the food in their mouth. They digest the food they swallow in their stomachs. Therefore, birds do not seem to need any teeth. Let's explore. You have learned about different types of wings, beaks and feet of birds. Look around your neighborhood and find out which type of wings, feet and beaks the birds have. Make a list and discuss your findings in class. Let us take a look at the glossary. Airborne means to fly in the air. Maneuvering is to move skillfully and carefully. Adapt is to change something in order to suit a different set of conditions or uses. Flapping is moving the wings up and down in order to fly. Now let us take a look at the mind map from this chapter. We have learned about 3 characteristics of birds, namely feathers, beak and feet. Under feathers, the different types of feathers that we learnt about are takeoff wings, soaring wings, high-speed wings, long-distance wings and slow flapping wings. Under beaks, the different types of beaks that we learnt about are conical, hooked, probe, spear, sipping, strainer and tweezer. Under feet, the different types of feet that we learnt about are wading, swimming, grasping, climbing and perching.